gonna need a bigger boat.
On this show, we're discussing a dear friend of mine. He terrorized me as a child and captivated me as an adult. His name is Bruce. Because we're talking movies, we're talking Jaws, starring Roy Schneider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw. Written by Peter Benchley and Carl Gottlieb, and directed by Steven Spielberg. Stop playing with yourself, Chris.
You know, Scott, you pick a fucking famous movie that has a famous one-liner in it, and you pick, yet again, a fucking obscure quote. So fuck you, I'm gonna hit you with two. First, the big and classic one, you're gonna need a bigger boat. Followed by, anti-shark cage. You go in the cage, cage goes in the water. You go in the water, shark's in the water. Our shark. Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? And if the theme song didn't let you know what we're talking about the 1975 classic from Steven Spielberg that's not about dinosaurs, it's about sharks. So Scott, take it away.
So why would they have to wait a minute in to know what we're talking about if it's literally in the fucking intro? We're talking movies, we're talking Jaws.
Because it's the fucking Chris show. I don't know, man. Sometimes it's like the first time I've ever done this show.
That I'm going to circle around how you constantly make fun of my quotes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you listen back to our episodes, all 50 plus of them, I pick a quote that's specific to us and more importantly, to you. Because I literally saw you playing yourself. I saw you playing with yourself, Chris. That's why I told you to stop.
So, everybody, this is the first of 4 episodes in our anniversary series. For those that don't know, September is 1 year. September 20th is 1 year since we started this show. And so we've picked 2 each of our favorite films, and this is the first one. Tell us about Jaws, Scott. It's your take it away. Do your thing.
Yeah. This is my favorite movie of all time.
Period. Oh, this was like number one on the scorecard.
Yeah, I did 1 and 2 for me.
You like 2?
I did.
Jaws 2.
The 2. Let's circle back again. So, because you're obviously not listening to me. As you explained to our audience, we each got to pick 2 movies that were our favorites. So I picked number 1 and number 2 on my list. Unlike you, that probably like this is some random indie movie that people are gonna give me street cred for.
but really, I'm like I'm going back and watching fucking I don't know what's just like Clueless. Some crazy what's that?
You're watching Clueless on repeat.
I mean, I really do love Legally Blonde, and Mean Girls, so yeah, I don't know. How do you want it? This is a pretty big movie, man. Like it's classic cinema. Everybody knows this movie. Everybody knows the John Williams score. Like I don't even know how do we tackle this great white of a film?
Like to me, I think this is the perfect storm, but the perfect film as well.
Okay.
Right? Because so many things needed to go wrong for this film to be what it is. And then what I mean is, if you love the summer blockbuster film, you don't need to 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon it. Like this is number 1. This is the film that started the summer blockbuster.
Yeah, I believe they used to call the summer like the graveyard. Like movies did not make money in the summer previous to Jaws.
Right. And originally when this movie was supposed to be released? Like when the actual release date was supposed to be?
I do not.
Christmas. This was supposed to be released on Christmas.
I mean, it would make sense, right? Like, because that the holiday season's still a big. It was a big movie time at that point too, right? So if you're gonna dump, I've got 9 million. Is that what you got? Is that what they basically were gonna dump into this film?
Give or take, yeah.
If you're gonna dump
with inflation, but like I said, like so many things needed to go wrong with this film, and the fact that the three mechanical sharks were constantly defaulting, or how you want to put it, not working
down. Yeah.
That it just made the shoot go longer and longer, that they literally thought they had a shit film. So like you said, they released it in June thinking, maybe we might get back a little bit of our money, right? Because they just wanted to get it out.
Oh, they're like, we want to get it out there. So if it's anything it's gonna generate, we can take the loss and fucking move on.
Yeah. And just imagine, like, being Spielberg, and this is your first foray into like theaters, right? Because everything before was like made for TV, like Duel and stuff like that, and his shorts, and then creating the summer blockbuster. And that's really why, like, he walked into every theater, right, or every production, unzipped his pants, just threw it right there, and been like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
His great white came out,
he was just
circumcised and all.
He's like, I want to do a movie about aliens, but it's a boring movie. They talk about music. They're like, fucking do it, and then that makes money, right?
I mean, he got to make a black and white film about the fucking Holocaust, which is fantastic. Schindler's List, like, also won lots of Oscars and stuff like that as well. But like, you're right. Like, I'm gonna make whatever fucking movie I want, and it's gonna do well. So Richard Dreyfuss, that plays Hooper, he's got an Oscar nod, and he actually got a BAFTA nod for Jaws. He originally said no to Spielberg, and then he had a shitty film. It hadn't even opened yet, but he had seen the pre-screenings. It's like the life of Danny Kravitz or whatever. And he was so appalled with his own acting, he basically got Spielberg on the line and was like, he was worried no one's going to hire him again after they saw that fucking movie, right? Because he had worked on American Graffiti with George Lucas, and that got him the first interview with Spielberg. So he basically gets Spielberg and be like, yeah, I'll do your fucking movie. And there you go, you're in Jaws. Like, again, like, there's a lot of those little things where people said no, and then like, we're maybe not going to do it, and then you get get to be part of like cinema history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, if you think about it, like, I think Roy Schneider was the only one that was contractually obligated to come back for a sequel.
Oh, they wrote that like right in his first contract?
I believe so, right? Just in case. Like, I could be wrong. People can check, Twitter or, Wikipedia, whatever. But I believe that's what it was. That's why he went back for the second one, which, there is a little debate in the V household, in my household. Because this is my favorite movie. We watch it every year.
Well, and, on Christmas or something like that? Some weird, like, fucking... It's like your Christmas movie or something like that. Open presents, watch Jaws.
It's not Christmas. It's fucking Thanksgiving. It's Easter. Bruce's Passover, right?
Yeah.
But no. But my son, which now kind of makes me think he might not be my son. Might be the mailman's son. Believes that number 2 is a better film than number 1.
Oh, and what did you just slap him or whatever? I'll be honest.
We'll talk about that offline. But I strongly disagreed with him and told him if he wanted any of my inheritance, he would change that position. I'm like, 2 is just a rehash of 1, except they changed the mayor. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I had seen Jaws again until I watched it for this show in forever. And this is going to sound like a stupid ass thing to say, especially to someone who clearly watches it all the time. I am so impressed at the cinematography of this film, like the way it is shot. This film is, I don't know how many years old now,
and it is still amazing. Like, it's like, even that fucking shark, man. Like, I get it. Like, some people are like, it looks a bit fake and did it. I'm like, it was 1975 and the shark is in the water. Like, I am highly impressed with this film. I mean, even the way Spielberg shoots it, like, again, you could see like a bay shooting this thing and it'd be just like, well, it would be like the Meg, right? Like, lots of shit, big, rah, 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 bitey, bitey. Spielberg shoots it way more like Hitchcock would. And actually, so like my first quote is from David Denby of The New Yorker. Spielberg may be the man who created the new Hollywood, but in his first mega hit, he summed up what it was best in the old: the humor, the perversity, and the storytelling intrigue of Alfred Hitchcock. And I actually wrote my own little quote to go along with that. I'm like, Jaws is like Psycho in the water, and in true Hitchcockian style, more thriller than horror. Like, and we'll talk about this, like, the specific shot selection for and cinematics later, but like, it had that like thriller-esque feel that a Hitchcock film does in a like an action movie. It's so well done. It is fucking beautiful to watch. Anyway, you go again, because I'll just go on about, like, this actually passes like all the stuff I complain about normally. This passes all those things. So yeah,
yeah, like I was saying before, like, so many things had to have gone wrong to create this perfect film, because the sharks, weren't working as well, and they only had that limited,
window
reels of it, of what worked and what didn't. You can see, even as a young director, Spielberg being able to make some choices that literally worked a lot better. And I think this movie perfected less is more, because you don't see the shark until 1 hour and 21 minutes into the 2-hour film.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but you feel its presence. It's literally like, it's there, it's going to attack. And the way they're able to just use the buoys, or when they take out the dock and just have the dock turn around, right? Like, simple things that make you seem like, oh shit, the shark's there. And it, like, making you use your imagination so much that that's what fucking scared you the most, right? Especially as a kid, right? Like, because you're using your imagination. Like, I didn't know a shark couldn't come out of a toilet, after watching this film. And I always have to look back, all right, just in case it popped up. You didn't know, like, as a kid, this movie just fucked you up.
Well, and I mean, John Williams' score, that dun that like foreboding music, and then it would like come on, and then something didn't always happen, right? So you're kind of on the edge of your seat all the time. Which I'm gonna just use that, and then I want to jump back to John Williams, because I've got Derek Malcolm from The Guardian saying that Jaws is a splendidly shrewd cinematic equation, which not only gives you one or two nasty turns when you least expect them, but possibly more important, knows when to make you think another's coming without actually providing it. Like, that tension, it's like you said, you don't see the shark. There's some great cinematography and editing where the camera's like moving all around. There's the score comes in, and then nothing will happen. And then so you're like, oh, and then bang, something will happen. And it's like, oh my God, it's so great.
Yeah, especially using, like, when it's in like predator mode and you're using the POV of the shark, right?
Yes.
Instead of seeing the shark, you see the legs. And let me tell you, I've been to a bunch of fucking beaches. I've never seen people tread water as much as this fucking beach, right? People just lying there like, fuck, I'm going to tread water. I'm going to go, instead of going swimming, playing, they're like, I'm going to go in the deep end and just tread water. but so that was go ahead.
Yeah. Well, just before we moved on, I would just want to say, like, so when I was looking up John Williams' stuff, though, it's like, this guy, he has 52 Oscar nominations, 52, and he has 5 wins. 1 for Jaws, 1 for Star Wars, Fiddler on the Roof, fucking E.T., and Schindler's List, right? Basically, so him and Spielberg, they just make fucking Oscars, is what they do. You know what I mean?
Yes. But I believe if I'm not mistaken, Williams has more Oscars than Spielberg.
Yeah, I think Spielberg has he has Spielberg has 17 Oscar nominations, and then he has 3 wins. And that includes both directing and producing. So I think he got a director and producer for Schindler's List, and then just a producer one for Saving Private Ryan, maybe something like that.
Well, he was the director of Saving Private Ryan, so
but he was also a producer too, wasn't he? No, but producer. Yeah.
I get like Best Picture.
Yes, and they lost Best Picture to Shakespeare in Love. So his directing ones would be for Schindler's List and for Saving Private Ryan, and then also a Best Picture for producer for Schindler's List. That would be how that broke down. Because that's that whole big Harvey Weinstein bullshit where basically he just like leveraged like money and influence to win Best Picture over Saving Private Ryan that year.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Let's see. Yeah. Now, like even though you haven't watched this, like we watch this all the time, but even every year there's new stuff that I notice in this film, like the shooting stars, right? This year was the first year I've noticed the 2 shooting stars that were filmed.
Oh, okay. Was that just by accident?
Yeah, like in the scene, there's a shooting star like actually coming in the horizon in the background, right? And then it goes to an establishing shot, which is probably the same shot, like from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the shooting star come down again. Both me and my kids are like, "Oh my god!" Like it was the first time we all noticed it. So,
do you have a favorite scene? Like, is there a section? Like, is there something that really turn on to?
2 favorite scenes. One is the the sentimental when he's at the dinner table with his kid before Winter Drivers.
Of course it is.
It's like when he's just like copying stuff. But I also love, the kid once the first child gets eaten, right? And they do that vertical shot when he actually sees it.
Yes.
It was like,
and it goes right in, right? Like I saw that, and that's another reason using that for those, because they use a vertical shot there, and then also when Robert Shaw is on like kind of the bow of the ship, and they're kind of doing this really interesting like reverse. It's not a POV, like they see him in there, and then they do a vertigo shot there as well, and it's just like it's so Hitchcockian, you know what I mean? Anyway, sorry, I keep going. So the part
those are my 2 favorite scenes in this film. And then
so nothing actually.
The one thing I didn't, in terms of plot wise, the one thing I didn't really get was the scene prior to that, right? Was where the mayor, like he's like, the whole point of this is they're not closing the beaches because they need that tourist money.
It's almost like if there was a global pandemic and you didn't want to close things because you couldn't afford the lost revenue. Almost the same.
Almost. But here's my thing plot-wise. Just going with that, because it's all about the tourist money. All those tourists came on that cruise ship, right?
That's a ferry.
Whatever. They all came, right?
It's because they're on an island, right? So
again, but they were all there.
Okay.
On the beach, but no one wanted to go in the water. And then he forces the people into the water. If those people are there and you're on an island,
they're already spending
are they just going to be? What does them walking into the water have to do with anything? Because they already got your money.
Well, I mean, because I guess if you shut the beach, I might just take the next ferry out of there, right? Like when I lived in Victoria in British Columbia, it's a fucking island, right? So if you go there to do cool island shit, and you can't do island shit, you're just going to get on the ferry and go back to the mainland. You know what I mean? So you're not going to spend the weekend. You're not going to spend the money. And it can ruin the whole idea is that that's a summer island holiday place, right? Because what is it? 4th of July? It's the beginning of the summer. So if you shut the beaches, those people might go away and never come back, my friend. But I mean, getting eaten by a shark, they also may never come back. So. Did you read the book or audiobook it or anything by Peter Bankley?
No, I've never read the book. I've never done anything like that. I think
I'm gonna try and find it on Audible, man, just to like sit in the pool, listen to the Jaws audiobook. This movie scared the shit out of me, and I probably just saw it in passing as a small child because I mean it was the 80s, so parents just did watch their own movies and kids wandered through the TV room. It made me afraid to go in a pool. Like just a regular concrete pool that I could literally see because like you said with the toilet, Jaws made you afraid that a shark was going to come out of like where the filter is, right? And just be like, ah.
Yeah, like it didn't matter, right? If there was water, there could be Jaws.
That's right.
And that's what I say, like our imaginations just kind of ran wild, right? And that's why it worked out. Like there literally was something called Jaws hysteria, where people were just frightened to no end because of this film, right? And that they were seeing sharks everywhere in the oceans, right? Just calling it.
Did they also see sharks in tornadoes?
Maybe now.
Maybe now. Sharknado.
Maybe now. But yeah, that's the thing. It's literally, it just caused such hysteria. And I think that's what, because no publicity is bad publicity. That's what fed this movie even more, right? Like
it would be interesting to like, I mean, I guess I know my mom thinks it's like was the scariest movie ever. She still doesn't want to watch it. It'd be interesting to talk to people that had saw it in the theater and just like, what was that summer like? Like, were people just going crazy? Like this movie did $472 million. And I don't think that's corrected for inflation. I think that's like $472 million in 1975. Like, if that's right, that is a fucking phenomenal amount of money. You know what I mean?
Oh, like 100. And I think in terms of like this is one of the first ones that you're getting like you're getting a sequel, like kind of fast tracked, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of keep it going, right? Like the whole franchise, like I think in reality kind of it started with James Bond, but I think it was made perfected here, right? And it was just literally like, we're just going to pump out another one. And who the fuck cares, right?
What, I mean, not to drift into the territory of all the other films in this filmography. What's the worst Jaws movie that's actually carries the Jaws moniker?
The one with Michael Caine, Revenge.
Oh, Michael Caine's in the Jaws? One. That sounds fucking awesome. Alfie versus Jaws.
Alfie. Yeah, I would say that one's the worst, where the shark now has like a vendetta against this family and goes across the ocean to like fucking chase after them. But
so this thing still got a 98% from critics, almost a perfect critic score. It's got a 90% from the audience, and I'm like, yeah, I can 100% see it. Like I said, it's beautifully shot. One of the other things I really like is the camera work at water level, where you're kind of seeing out. It's POV into the ocean or whatever, and they have the people like run to like shark, and like the water splashing over the camera. The DOP Bill Butler actually had built a waterproof case for the camera so that you could get those really low angle shots. I mean, what's crazy about Bill Butler is, so he also had another film at the same Oscars, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which actually beat Jaws for Best Picture, and the DOP from Jaws won an Oscar for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So that's not bad, right? You work on 2 Oscar films in one season, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they probably gave it to the other one over Jaws too, because they're probably like, well, this is a rookie movie, right? Well, and
that's probably why Spielberg didn't get nominated for Best Director for Jaws, even though it's a fantastically directed film. It's like perfectly executed, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just like all the people that the shark eat.
On the chump. But
other than Jaws, do you have a favorite Spielberg movie other than Jaws? Because you kind of like the big Hollywood stuff. Just give me top 3 or something like that.
Oh, you got to go Jurassic Park.
I fucking hate Jurassic Park. It's so boring. Anyway, keep going. I don't like those movies, man.
You got to go Jurassic Park. Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Fucking E.T., man.
E.T. I'm pretty sure.
Indiana Jones. Like Indiana Jones.
Okay, so here's my note on Indiana Jones. Sure, the first three are great, and I literally wrote, fuck Crystal Skull. Yeah, so I would say for me, the Indiana Jones 1 through 3. I even really like Temple of Doom. I think it's fun. I mean, his wife is in it, or his future wife, or whatever. Which actually, hold on. So when he divorced her, Spielberg he's on the list of like top most expensive divorces in history. So Spielberg's divorce in 1989, after 4 years of marriage to Amy Irving. Oh no, sorry, do I have that wrong? Yeah, I have that wrong. This was his other wife. That's right, that's his other wife. When he divorced her after 4 years, it cost him $100 million. That's $200 million in today's dollars. I was like, wow.
That's not Jeff Bezos' money, man.
Yeah. I know. That's like too cheap.
Or Bill Gates' money.
But yeah, I guess those both of them. But yeah, so I like the Indiana Jones movies. I obviously like Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, E.T. Like I said, was the first one I saw in the theater. But like you said, he's got like a huge list of films. And I'm excited to see how West Side Story goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like here's my wish in a perfect world. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's been 34 years since a Jaws film graced the screens.
Guy Ritchie, Jaws.
No, I think Spielberg's last film should be a remake of this one.
Quentin Tarantino does Jaws.
No, fucking Spielberg taking everything he's learned since like making that movie, his first blockbuster movie, and just literally applying it. I bet you it would take him only like 2 weeks to film this with a mechanical shark and everything, with everything he's learned.
I mean, or it could you got to remember though, Jaws is classic. Sometimes you don't want to fuck with that stuff, man. Like, what if you don't make a good movie? What if people go, the first one was better? Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's good to just stay the fuck away from that stuff.
No, listen. There's a little movie called Back to the Future 2. And back in 2016, I was supposed to be at to Jaws 20 right now.
Yes.
I got stuck at 4.
That's right.
I'm due 16. I'm due 16 more.
Yeah, man. I mean, I really like this film. I think everybody should watch it. I think it's fun. I probably already know the answer to this. Is this a family film for you? Like, would you recommend it to people with a family? Like, what is the lowest age that you think should be watching this movie?
No, I think anybody can handle, like, obviously the young kids are going to be a little bit scared about, like, just like we were when it first came out. But I think because of how desensitized children are right now with like everything that they have at their disposal with entertainment, like this is a PG movie to them, right?
But do you think, I mean, when your kids watched it, because again, it's not, the violence isn't what's scary, it's the tension, right? Like that is that is what freaks you out, right? It's the realism, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Like when they hear that score, they know shit's about to happen, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes this like a perfect film, right? Like it encompasses you with story, encompasses you with the acting, the directing, and the score, right?
The only thing it could, I mean, I don't even know how you would put this in, is if you were to redo it, you need a super dope fucking 70s soundtrack that goes with it. You know what I mean? Like
doing like
because there's composition.
I don't think you need. I think you just need a score. I don't think you need any.
Then the score is perfect. That's the thing, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think you need actual like interjecting of music, right? I think just having the score is great, and I think that's what and that's the thing. Like once you made something perfect, it's hard to change it. Because look at anything John Williams. Any sequels does not have like songs in it, right? Everything just they tweak his score a little bit, but they just keep it orchestra, right?
100%.
If it works, why add to it, right?
True. I mean, so one of my favorite characters in this. I mean, everybody. I mean, both Roy Schneider as Chief Brody, Robert Shaw as Quinn, and Richard Dreyfuss as Hoover. They play off each other so well. But you gotta admit, Robert Shaw as Quinn, he is maybe it's because I was in the Navy and as a sailor, like he's one salty motherfucker, man. I love that guy. He's fucking great.
Yeah, like he did an amazing job, and that's the thing too, right? He had second billing, and I think he only really becomes a main character 50 minutes in. He has that little scene at the beginning, and then you don't hear from him again. Yeah. Then you don't hear from him again until they're like, "Fuck it, we gotta hire this guy." Yeah, I would love to see like you know how we have the 4-hour Schneider cut.
Yeah.
Just like the 4-hour Spielberg cut, and it's just following him for like an hour while all these people are getting
Quinn
killed.
Cut or whatever, and it's just like him getting drunk and
sitting with his feet up, like, "Oh man, my price just went up. Oh man, my price just went up."
So Robert Shaw is like a highly, highly trained actor. He was in the Royal Shakespeare Company. He wrote screenplays and novels. He was in the Dam Busters. He was in a James Bond movie, From Russia with Love. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. He was in The Sting. And then he died super fucking young. He died in 1978 at age 51 of a heart attack on the fucking side. He was driving his car with his like wife and kid, and he was like, didn't feel good, got out of the car and fucking boom, dead. Dead as a fucking doornail right there. 51 years old. That is not that old, man.
No, that's not at all, right? It's a tragedy.
It is a tragedy.
Especially coming off of Jaws, right? You're looking at it like he would have. Like he just literally from Jaws alone extended his filmography by 10, 15 years, right?
Sure, except that he died.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Why you gotta bring up the sad part?
Actually, even when he spoiler alert. Even when he gets eaten, you're like, because you kind of don't expect those main guys to die. It's sort of like the Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah, like even though he foreshadowed it, like when he does that iconic US Indianapolis story, and he was like, he foreshadows it saying his best friend just went past him and he thought his best friend was asleep. And that's when he found out his best friend was ripped in half, eaten in half.
And that's
right?
what
like
he
he foreshadowed.
Never wear a life jacket again.
Yeah. All right. And which probably, if he did wear a life jacket at that time, it probably would have saved him.
I don't know, because he got sucked in by a shark. I don't know what a life jacket does.
Yeah, but when it would have gave Roy Schneider something else to grab onto, right? Because he only had his arm, and then it slipped off. If he had his
maybe
the life jacket.
So wear your life jackets, kids, so that you don't get eaten by a shark.
True.
Yeah. Anyway, man, I love this. Go ahead.
I want to say one thing on the topic of the story of the U.S. Indianapolis, which would have made an amazing Jaws prequel movie. This movie was made. They actually made it with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, that's right.
Do not watch it, please.
I totally forgot about that.
Just go back. Just all you got to do is watch this scene over and just pretend you're seeing it. Right? Do not watch the Nicolas Cage version of it.
And that story, the USS Indianapolis, that is a good story. There is no excuse for it to be done poorly. And I don't know, Nicolas Cage is hit and miss, man. Sometimes he's fucking brilliant. Other times he's just fucking paycheck player. But yeah, anyway, that's all for me. Definitely watch Jaws. I recommend this to fucking anybody. I'm going to watch it again, actually. I'm absolutely just so impressed with the cinematography. It's so well done. It's like I said, it's Psycho with a shark, more horror than thriller. It's so Hitchcockian.
And that is our rant for the day. Like and subscribe to this podcast. Please comment as well. Let us know how shocked you are that we made it to 2 years, because we're fucking shocked. If you're looking to get a hold of us, please go to our website at howdyoulikethatmovie.com. All our social media links are there, and you can email us as well.
I found out that Steven Spielberg I found out Steven
No,
Spielberg.
that could be why it's not in the show. You can't say his name.
Steven Spielberg's worth $4 billion and has like a super yacht that he's selling or has sold so he can get a bigger super yacht. So it's like literally someone said to him, hey, Spielberg, you're going to need a bigger boat. Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.